Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to listen up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
I love it. Thank you, KK, Phil, and Ryan on Listen Up. Ryan, it's been a while. So a lot to go over in a short period of time. First of all, congratulations to Dylan and Amy. I wanted to shout out to this beautiful couple, Ryan. I had a wedding on Saturday, and I promised him that I would shout out to him and his wonderful wife, two good friends of mine. So they're officially part of the Listen Up family now. And I know nothing to do with the scenery back behind them, nothing to do with UConn women's basketball, but I want to get everybody from UConn to shout out to Amy and Dylan and congratulate them. Ryan, this photo right here turned into this on Saturday. So, excuse me. I wanted to shout out to them again. Congratulations. And I know you wanted to extend your congratulations to them as well.
Yeah, congratulations, Amy and Dylan. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go with you to attend the wedding because, of course, I guess you guys can see the background behind me is a little different for today's video. But of course, like I said, I'm going to Vegas, and of course, now I am in Las Vegas. So yeah, it's been pretty fun so far. A little weird coming on from all the way across the country. But yeah, having a good time so far. But yeah, congratulations to Dylan and Amy on the wedding.
Yeah, I was going to get into that in just a second. You know, I'm not going to forget about it. I had to ask you why I'm just finishing up lunch and why you're just finishing up breakfast. From melted icing on cinnamon buns all the way from Maryland. We welcome you all on Listen Up, and we appreciate you joining us. Before we get down into the topic, Brian, of the three new incoming freshmen that we have on this UConn Huskies team, I appreciate you for joining me all the way from Vegas. That's right, thousands of miles away. So it's not like you're 20 minutes away anymore. So I'm starting to feel like it's a true podcast all of a sudden. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you a funniest moment so far. What have you enjoyed so far? Although you still have a lot of time there left. Shout out to your Florida Panthers tomorrow night in the Eastern Conference Finals against the New York Rangers. Ryan, but again, we get it. UConn women's basketball is a topic today. But what about this Vegas trip so far? First time in your life, and shout out to all the UConn family. Do you recommend it? Especially Jason. Jason, he wanted to know how this trip's going. And what happens there stays there. So anything that's a secret, make sure you don't broadcast that, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, just been chilling out so far, pretty much. Of course, walk along the strip, take some pretty cool pictures. A lot of big buildings, of course, a lot of the big hotels, Bellagio, Caesar's Palace, MGM. Kind of incredible how big all these buildings are. The lights everywhere. Got to watch the light show, or excuse me, the water show in front of one of the hotels. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, but I think, of course, gambling. Of course, you can't come here without gambling a little bit on the slot machines and all that. So that's pretty much been what we've done the first couple of days down here so far.
All right, Ryan. I just see UConn. This was 21 hours ago. So UConn, according to CT Insider, UConn women's basketball announces new jersey numbers for newcomers to returners. So we'll have to get into that, Ryan. Maybe have a separate episode on the jersey numbers. We always like to talk about that.
Yeah.
Once you return, that's going to be up to you. We can have one more episode before you return, or we can wait until you get back to Maryland. I wanted to also go over very quickly. We did receive emails. We saw the comment section. Ryan's going to be getting those shirts out in the mail, Ryan. I know you had at least one or two people that answered the trivia question right. We're not going to release the answer quite yet. We want to see if anybody else can get it. But we're going to get the shirts taken care of when you get back. All right, Ryan.
Yeah.
So Sarah Strong, Morgan Cheli, Allie Ziebell. You know, I asked you before the podcast started, like we have our usual phone call in the morning. Sarah Strong could arguably make a huge impact, and I believe that she could fit her way into that starting lineup. Maybe not first month, but it just depends how she looks, I think, coming in to these games. I think she could earn a big starting role in that lineup, starting lineup. But even though we're going to get into the full starting lineup later, months from now, I wanted to get into these three freshmen coming in. What do you think? I got Sarah Strong. All right, Sarah Strong eventually making a starting role debut. But I think for Allie Ziebell and Morgan Cheli, and no disrespect, they got full talent. But as I've seen so far now, unless someone goes down with, I'm not even going to say the word, I think that the other two will get a lot of time off the bench in the blowout games, third and fourth quarters. I don't think you're going to see a lot of them in the 24-25 season. But Sarah Strong, that's different.
Yeah, of course, Sarah Strong, Allie Ziebell, and Morgan Cheli make up the #2 overall recruiting class. Strong, of course, being ranked the #1 overall recruit in the class of 2024, followed by Allie Ziebell, who's ranked 7th, and Morgan Cheli, who's ranked 11th. All those rankings according to ESPN. So the class was made official by Gino last Tuesday when Sarah Strong officially signed, and Coach had some high praise for Strong and for the whole upcoming class, stating that all three of them can make an immediate impact, describing each of them as versatile, and also said, quote, to have three players coming in that can immediately have an impact on your team is pretty unique. I'm thrilled, and I can't wait to get started with them in June. So let's kind of break down and talk about all three of these wonderful rookies we have coming in. Starting off with the #1 recruit, Sarah Strong, 6'2" forward from North Carolina. She's a player that I like to call a point forward because she can handle the ball kind of like a point guard and also knock down the three ball. Sarah can also facilitate the rock, which immediately will make her a great fit in the UConn offense. UConn will also benefit from her rebounding and shot blocking on the defensive side of things. She won so many rewards. We went over them when she committed to UConn with her high school team, a lot of rewards, breaking records left and right. So she really does have it all, and hopefully that translates a lot to a lot of success for the Huskies this season. Now on to Allie Ziebell, 6-foot guard slash wing player from Wisconsin, who can also pass the ball with ease and is fundamentally strong. Ziebell can score in bunches, and Gino said she reminds him a little bit of Azzi Fudd and Paige Beckers in the way that she can kind of score and just take over a game in seconds. But of course, we do have a lot of talented guards at UConn, but I think Allie can kind of be a player that is ready to step up whenever the team needs her to and provide that boost of energy with her scoring ability, either from the starting lineup or off the bench. And last but not least, we have Morgan Cheli, a 6'2" guard all the way from San Jose, California. So she's also making the trip all the way across the country, going to stores this season for UConn. But she chose UConn over more than 40 other schools, including South Carolina. So Cheli will be the tallest guard on the roster, and she can play on the wing as well, and even inside the paint if needed. She's an all-around versatile guard who can drive, pull up, and is slowly developing her three-point shot as well. So her immediate impact to the team may be her relentless rebounding ability. So I think all three of these players are really going to make an immediate impact in different ways. Now, whether it's from the bench on the starting lineup is still kind of yet to be seen. But I think we have three really, really talented young women joining the team this season.
Yeah, very well said. I heard a knock on the door. I thought that was the maid trying to change her pin. Now, what's your take? I want to ask you the transfers, not the transfers, but rather you're right, stacked with guards. Now maybe Yana Al-Alfi can transfer into that center to forward position, but we can't forget about Ice Brady. We can't forget that Amari DeBerry transferred to Maryland. All right, so Amari DeBerry to Maryland. So with her departure, and then you have Ayanna Patterson, the forward from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Ryan, to me, no disrespect to Ayanna, but again, that's kind of, she showed flashes of really good basketball, but to me, still a lot of question marks around Patterson. how do you balance this if you're Gino? I mean, I wish I could answer. Ryan always answers it better than I can. Especially if you have Yana Alfie stepping up. You're already seeing a lot of Ice Brady, and I want to see a lot more of Ice Brady, obviously Patterson and Alfie. But man, like I'm just thinking, like, how do you balance this out if, like, again, good problem to have, but if like all your forwards now are, and something that we haven't really been used to since on this podcast. Now we're starting to see that depth in the front court.
Yeah, I think this is kind of always the biggest question of the off season is how Gino's gonna somehow split up all of these minutes, configure the lineup for the regular season opener. But for sure, it's definitely going to be tough. And of course, we can't forget about Aubrey Griffin returning to UConn this season for her graduate year. So, and of course, Yana El Alfie, unfortunately, with her being injured last season, this is technically her redshirt freshman year. So she's technically still a freshman. But yeah, we definitely have a plethora of forwards this season. I think it's going to be hard to take Aubrey Griffin out of the starting lineup. She's done so many great things for this team over the years, but of course, we don't really know how she's going to look coming off that injury. And the same thing can be said about Ayanna Patterson. We saw her make a couple of starts in the lineup. Ice Brady, we saw a ton of her last year. Yana El Alfie was poised to have a breakout season. She had a wonderful off season, and then of course suffered that injury, unfortunately. And of course, Sarah Strong coming in. So it's going to be tough for Gino to figure out how he can play all these forwards, who's going to get the start. I'd assume we're still going to have that 3 guard, 2 forward starting lineup. Of course, there's a lot of talented guards too, but I think it's going to be interesting with especially all of these younger forwards we have on the team who Gino is going to rely on for the first month or so, I guess, in this started lineup.
All right, leave your comments in the comment section. We want to hear from you guys as well. What you think, how these 3 incoming freshmen will make an impact this season, and who makes more of an impact, who won't we see a lot of, or maybe we see all 3, Ryan. You're well aware of what I told you over and over. Expect the unexpected, right? All right. Comments from Maryland all the way to Vegas. We'll go over to Just Me. They said, Phil and Ryan, great channel. All your shows are good stuff, but that's easy for me because I've been a UConn women's basketball fan since the days of Rebecca Lobo. And Ryan, if you're not aware of what they're speaking about, they're making reference to the UConn Huskies fans receive early Christmas gift video.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Of course, yeah, I mean, we're glad to cover this UConn team and grateful for all the news that we're able to cover. But yeah, it should definitely be an interesting off season. Of course, I'm glad we got that news about USC and UConn. I think that's a really good series to look forward to. Of course, for not only USC and UConn fans, but I think just all the women's college basketball fans as well.
The disruptive one. It will be an interesting game. We may have just scheduled a loss, though, to be honest. Whoa. The Big East will really stink next year. So it is more important than ever to schedule difficult opponents in the non-conference.
Yeah, I think, unfortunately, they might be right about the Big East. I think I saw a lot of players this offseason transferring out. But I'm sure there'll be a couple teams like there were last year that are going to be up there and maybe give UConn a couple of tough games. But yeah, USC is definitely going to be a really tough matchup, and I'm sure we'll have a lot more out of conference tough matchups. But yeah, I think it's always important for UConn to schedule these tough games, and I'm glad we get to play these tougher opponents outside of the conference.
Jimmy Smith, Ryan says that's a gift. I mean, look, I don't want to I don't know. I don't want to make a bad name for Ryan and I, right? We love UConn women's basketball, but Ryan, I'm just saying. I mean, I think you can kind of lean my way. You're probably like, Phil, why are you saying this? But no, look, really. I mean, I love when UConn wins. We get it. You love it. But at the same time, I told you, I'm like, Ryan, I kind of want to see some competition. I mean, I'm not trying to go to UConn and see like 90-40 UConn. So, I mean, I think that's what this person is talking about. This person must not like those close games where you sit on your seat and you almost fall off sweating. So this person must like the 90-40, 90-50 kind of games.
Yeah, and luckily for us, I guess we do have a lot of those 90-40 blowout kind of games, but it is nice every once in a while to watch a really competitive game, and I think this series
Yeah.
will give us that between USC and UConn for the next 2 years. But yeah, I mean, if it's anything like that Elite Eight game was, I think we should definitely be in for a treat.
Yeah, and not only that, wouldn't you tell Jimmy Smith, Ryan, that might get them pumped and ready for what's to come in March? I mean,
Yeah.
when you are tested and challenged that early in the season, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the one of the main reasons why we schedule a lot of these out of conference games against these highly ranked opponents is so that we give the committee something to look at and talk about as we prepare for March and get all the rankings set. And I think it always gets the team ready, for the tougher opponents that they're going to face when it comes time to play in March Madness.
All right, Ryan. Desert heat and neon streets. Go visit the strip tonight, Ryan, and I will see you later this week. I appreciate you. I know everybody appreciates you. Everybody comment and tell Ryan thank you for taking your vacation time out to come on Listen Up with Phil and Ryan.